Welcome to the ReDuo Show. My name is Allan Royal.
And I'm Suzanne McKenney. And our show is all about recycling old materials and reusing them in the most creative way possible.
For instance, we found an old fire grate at a flea market. We thought it had terrific possibilities. At first, we used it as a doorstop.
That didn't work so great. Great.
Then we tried a lamp, and that didn't work.
No.
But then we thought of something completely different. A small wall hutch.
And that's today's project on the ReDuo Show.
Recycle is the thing. You can be a ding-a-ling. Redo. 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 If you have a hammer, if you had a thought, you can put them both together and come up with quite a lot. Just redo. It's all up to you. Redo. Redo. Take a look around and see what can be found. Redo. 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 Redo.
Thanks a lot.
This is a rough sketch of our wall hutch we're going to build. We'll have a small drawer in the bottom with 2 handles and 2 small picture frame doors above. And because we're using recycled materials, our hutch is going to look kind of worn and antique-y. And as a bonus, using recycled materials is also good for the environment. The materials you'll need to build your hutch are 40 feet of 1x6 pine, some chicken wire, small wood screws, some drywall screws, finishing nails, brads for your electric staple gun, 4 handles, wood biscuits, and some wood glue. Oh, yeah, and don't forget a decorative piece for your doors. We're using our old fire grate.
We're going to remove these 2 small circles, these decorative pieces. You can see they're just held on by a small screw. And then we're going to place them right in the middle of the doors. We're going to make it so that you can hang this on the wall. Be maybe 28 inches by 30 inches high and 11 inches deep.
The wood that we're going to be using is a pine that came from somebody's old roof. You'll notice it's got lots of really nasty tar left in it, but it's going to be nice because the black streaks are going to tie right in with our handles, which are going to look awesome once I clean them up. They've got black in the middle. This is chrome. It's hard to tell right now, but it's going to clean up beautifully. We're going to have some chrome hinges, and we're going to spray paint our grill black. So altogether, those black accents and the chrome are going to come together to make a fabulous hutch, I think.
What we're going to do is we're just going to take off this small little piece. It was broken when we got the grate, so we're just going to take it off and make them look identical.
All right, you'll notice here that I started with these mucky handles. What I did was I soaked them in paint thinner overnight. Take it apart, soak it in the paint thinner. It just makes it easier for it to come off. And you grab, oh my God! Just kidding, I'm all right. Then you just grab a little one of these. This is one of the chrome pieces. Get some fine steel wool and just start scrubbing on it a little bit. Put a little elbow grease into it. Then, after all that hard work, look at the payoff. Is that beautiful or what? Dun da da da!
Now, we've decided to make our cabinet 11 inches deep, so what we're going to do is we're going to put these 2 pieces of wood together. To join them together, we're going to use a biscuit joiner.
And how wide are these?
These are 11 inches. So
Together.
What's the matter with you? Don't you understand this is 11 inches, for God's sake?
I just wanted
This
to know
is six
what it
and a half,
was.
this is 4.5.
Well,
What does
they
that
look
make?
the same to
No,
me.
it makes 10. Oh, God, you're...
This is a biscuit joiner, one of my favorite tools. Love the smell of power tools in the morning. And I have this unplugged right now while I'm showing you. It's always important to have them unplugged. The reason I like this is because it bores a hole right in the middle. It works as a real strong dowel type thing that the biscuit goes in. And you can see that there's teeth inside that do that. It works on a spring action. And it's really easy to handle.
This is a biscuit. We're going to use this to join our planks together. But first, we're going to have to make a couple of marks, so the biscuits end up in the same place.
Whenever you use any kind of power tools, it's important to always wear goggles or sanding or anything like that. And if you ever wonder if you're the boss or the assistant, just check out the goggles. It'll tell you right away. Why don't you just let me borrow those? Excuse me. All right, we're ready for the biscuit joiner. Basically, the lines that Alan drew before match up with the little red line that's in the center here. You just line those up. Make sure you have a good hold on it. The trigger is in the back. And voila, you have a biscuit hole where the biscuit go. Fits right in like that.
And now what we're going to do is glue these together with the biscuits and clamp them. And don't forget to use a lot of glue in the little holes where the biscuits go. Yeah, there we go. And do both sides. You know, there once was a man from Bengal who went to a fancy dress ball. He decided to risk it and go as a biscuit, and the dog ate him up in the hall.
Let me just make sure this fits. Is that the right clamp that you're talking about?
I think you got
Does
the
that
right
feel good?
idea. I think you've cleared up my headache. There we go. Put a clamp on that.
All right. And then you just match up your lines. Tap it together with the hammer. Get a nice tight seal.
Go.
And then put your clamps on it. Any kind of clamp will do as long as it has a nice tight hold. And you let it sit for about a half an hour, right? And then it's dry.
We're using a Shopsmith Mark V here today, but we're just going to use this as a table saw. It's a 5-in-1 tool, but we'll strictly use it just as a table saw. So if you have a table saw, you can do all these things. We're going to rip up this old pine planking. We're going to rip it into 2.5 inches. We'll use that for the hutch trim and the door size.
Ripping is a carpentry term that's used when you're cutting with the grain of the wood to make the width smaller. Like here we have a 5.5-inch piece of board that we want to rip down to 2.5 inches.
We're going to put a small rabbet in the edge of the wood. So we're going to lower this blade to 1/4 inch. Lock it off. And we'll bring the rip fence in to 1/4 inch. Make one pass. Knock that off. Let's put a little channel, and that channel's going to go right in the side of this wood here, so we can just inset our metal decorative piece.
This is the 2.5-inch pine that Alan ripped for us. This is going to be used to trim the hutch itself. And this piece is going to be used to actually make the door frames, because you'll notice it has the rabbet on the inside where the little ornamental iron is going to sit inside. So in order to do that, we need to get a clean mitered edge, which is a 45-degree angle. And you've got to remember to keep the rabbet on the inside of the square, because that's where everything lays. So you'll notice you have a little piece of wood that's going to be left over. You can make earrings or whatever you want to do out of that. Now, you've got this piece right here. You're going to measure over 11.25 inches, because basically you're making a square. All sides are the same size. This is 11.25. Make your little mark here. Then you get your combination square. Set it on your mark. And this is just to help you remember which way your line's supposed to be going when you cut it. Then you go back to your chop saw, line up your blade on the outside of the line, because if you go on the inside of the line, it's going to be shorter than that 11.25 you wanted. Put your glasses back on, and bingo bongo, you have a side. You keep cutting 8 of these, you're going to put them all together, and you're going to make 2 doors. I'm putting together our 11.25 inch door frames now, and the way we're going to do that is with some hot butter biscuits. Now what we're going to do is put those together, and you draw your little center line like Alan did before, so you know exactly where the center of the biscuit is. Line up your red line right on that line. Hold it so it's nice and secure. Fingers away. sometimes it slides and you have to be careful. And then you do it on the other side, you get another shot at it that way. Line it up, hold on tight. You have to make sure that it doesn't slip because it'll get away from you. Now you just put a little glue in there. We'll see if this works. Right there. Put a little glue here as well, right around the edge. So you have a nice tight seal. Stick your little biscuit in there. Stick it in with the other one. Match those lines up. Oh yeah, that's good. Look at all that glue coming up. That's what you want to see. Just kind of wipe that off a little bit. Wipe it on your neighbor. And then eventually, voila! Lovely, huh?
Now we're going to assemble the door. We cut a piece of this chicken wire about 3/8 of an inch bigger than the opening.
Came up with this. Pretty cool, huh?
Then we take our beautiful little decal here.
Here's your machine screw. Is that a machine
Put a
screw?
machine screw in, yeah.
Okay.
Place it into the center. We've taken a piece of steel. We've drilled in 3 holes all the way around so that they will fit on this pattern, so we can drill in here and here to hold it in. Got a little nut.
Or a big nut.
Hold it together. Now we can move this around in whatever contortion we want. Place it in. Line this up. And now we're just going to put a little screw in it. We'll use a small number 6 screw.
Excellent. While he's finishing that up, we also got some small pieces of wood that we could frame the edge of this so that you don't get the screen, you don't snag your hand on it, whatever.
And
Pretty snazzy, huh?
voila.
Wow. Do you have plans for later on tonight? Are you busy?
Oh, jeez.
Keep working, keep working.
Oh, sorry.
Basically, we've just made a box 10 inches by 22 inches that will be the hutch drawer. We put a small rabbet in the bottom of the drawer so we can set in a piece of old paneling 1/8 of an inch thick. Then we cut a piece of our old roof pine and mounted it on the front of the drawer to make it flush with the doors.
But what we're going to do now is we're going to put 2 screws in the back just to hold this thing together.
Nice.
We're going to make a rabbet in the sides of the woods to accept the shelves. Now, you could use a router to do this, but we're just going to use the table saw. We measure down 13 inches, which is a good size for a shelf. And then we measure down another 3/4 of an inch, which is the width of the wood itself. We'll put a rabbet in there about 3/8 of an inch down.
And we'll chisel out the excess. Before we assemble our hutch, we'll do a little belt sanding to make the wood nice and smooth. We're going to put on some decorative cuts on the bottom of our hutch to give it a finished look. A type of scallop. Although, I prefer my scallops on a plate with a nice steak and some fava beans.
Now that we've scalloped our side pieces, we're going to put it all together. We're going to start by gluing and screwing one of the sides to the top. You want to put a little glue on that? I got it. Now we're going to attach the trim pieces that we've cut. Just before you put them on, make sure that your box is nice and square. If it's not, just kind of adjust it one way or the other, because you need to have it square in order for your doors to swing nicely and fit nicely. So we're going to glue it and take it from there.
When you're using recycled wood, like this old roofing material, you can almost always count on the fact that it won't be perfectly straight. But the payoff is that it's going to have a real aged beauty to it. Keep in mind, anytime you're attaching framed pieces like this, there will be some adjusting involved. So it's smart to leave the heads of your nails sticking up when you attach the frame, because it allows you the ability to adjust it all after the pieces are on, to make it fit just right.
Is it square?
Well, let's find out. 8.5. 28.5. That is square.
Fixity! I'm filling the joints and cracks and nail holes that the countersunk nail holes that we made here. We are going to leave, though, the original ones in there because they give it some nice character. And then when all of this is dry, we're going to give it a nice fine sand. It'll look real pretty.
Now we're ready to drill the holes and install our doors. These screws are so small, and my hands are so big.
Still pulled it down.
That's all right. Let's have a look. Oh, I think that's okay.
While Bob approaches the wild cheetah, I'll stay back here behind the tree.
She has some serious problems. We'll deal with that at dinner time. This is the most difficult part, is setting up the handles, just to make sure they're exactly the same.
Looking so pretty. Look at these. Didn't these turn out beautiful? Didn't they turn out nice? Apply your finish before you add your handles back on. It just makes it a lot easier. And we prefer a paste wax because it just makes the wood look real rustic, which definitely this lends itself to. You can do a varathane finish or you can paint it. It depends on where you want it to go, what you want it to look like. You want to let it dry, buff it out, and then apply another coat. And I'd say you could probably do up to 8 or 10 coats if you really want to put the time into it. Isn't that pretty?
We decided to make a small trim piece for the top of our hutch to finish it off. We're using the last of the 1x6 pine to fill in the back. Attach our handles, and then we'll give it one more coat of wax.
And here it is, our fabulous new old hutch.
From an old kitchen, an old roof, and an old fireplace.